Let us begin our journey where the sky meets the edge of space in the realm of the highest clouds, the thin, delicate wisps that paint themselves across the upper atmosphere. Take a deep breath and let your gaze drift upward to where the air grows thin and cold. Cirrus translucidus, the transparent wanderer. These are clouds that barely announce themselves. Thin veils of ice crystals, so delicate they allow the sun and moon to shine through without hindrance. They drift at heights of 20,000 feet or more. White brushstrokes on a canvas of blue ... never quite solid, never quite gone. Watch them stretch across the sky, translucent and honest ... revealing the heavens beyond. Cirrus fibratus ... the fibrous streamer. Imagine pulling cotton into the thinnest possible threads and letting them float in a river of wind. These clouds appear as straight or gently curved filaments ... hair-like strands that extend across the dome of the sky. No tufts ... no curls ... just pure, simple lines, drawn by the hand of the atmosphere itself. They remind us that sometimes beauty needs no complexity, only presence. Cirrus uncinus, the hooked one. Here, the wind begins to play. These clouds curl at their ends like the stroke of a calligrapher's brush, like a comma made of ice. The upper portions trail in delicate hooks and wisps, and meteorologists sometimes call them Mari's tails. Watch them drift, each one a question mark in the sky ... Gentle and undemandi ... asking nothing, simply existing in their quiet hooked elegance. Cirrus radiatus ... clouds of perspective. These appear to converge toward a point on the horizon, like railway tracks extending into the distance. It's an optical illusion, of course. The clouds are actually parallel, but from where we stand, they seem to radiate from a single vanishing point. They teach us that our perspective shapes what we see, that distance transforms straight lines into patterns of convergence, and that beauty often lies in how we look at things. Cirrus duplicatus, the layered whisper. Now the sky begins to stack itself, one thin veil of cirrus overlaying another. At slightly different heights, two separate cloud sheets, existing in harmony, one in front of the other, creating a subtle depth in the high atmosphere. It's like looking through two sheets of frosted glass ... each one barely there, but together creating something more. Cirrus vertebratus ... the skeleton cloud. These arrange themselves in a pattern that resembles ribs, or the vertebrae of some great sky creature. Regular, repeating elements, aligned like the bones of a fish or the spine of a dragon made entirely of ice. There's a rhythm to them, a pattern that feels almost alive, as if the sky itself is breathing. Cirrus intortus ... the tangled artist. Here order gives way to chaos ... but beautiful chaos. These clouds twist and interweave in irregular patterns, tangled and chaotic, as if someone has taken those straight fibrous strands and stirred them gently with an invisible hand. They're confused ... disorganized ... and utterly captivating. Sometimes beauty doesn't need structure. Cirrus spicatus, the thickened wisp. These are cirrus clouds that have grown dense enough to appear grayish when viewed toward the sun. They're still high ... still made of ice crystals ... but they've accumulated enough substance to cast faint shadows, to block just a little bit of light. They're often the remnants of the anvil tops of old thunderstorms, the last evidence of storms long past, now drifting peacefully in the upper winds. Cirrus opacus, the veil that hides, thick enough to completely hide the sun or moon. These cirrus clouds have gathered enough ice to create a continuous layer. The sun might create a bright patch behind them, but you cannot see its disk clearly. It's a curtain drawn across the celestial stage, softening the light, creating a diffused, gentle glow across the entire sky. Cirostratus ... the halo maker. Now we move to something broader. A thin, whitish veil that can cover the entire sky. So uniform, so smooth. Often invisible except for the halo it creates around the sun or moon. 22 degrees of arc ... A perfect circle of light caused by ice crystals bending the sunlight just so. In ancient times, these halos were omens. Now we simply appreciate them as atmospheric art. Geometry written in ice. Cirrocumulus Eve L. OCCUS ... The tufted heights. Here, high altitude meets texture. Small, puffy elements. Each one looking ragged at the edges, like tufts of wool scattered across the sky. There, often accompanied by thin trails of ice crystals falling beneath them. Virga that never reaches the ground, evaporating long before it arrives. Each tuft is its own small world, appearing and disappearing as the atmosphere shifts. Cirrocumulus stratiformis, the high ripple. Imagine the surface of the ocean, frozen at altitude. These clouds spread in sheets or patches, composed of very small white elements. Arranged in groups or lines, they create a textured ceiling ... far overhead, like the scales of a fish or the cells of a honeycomb. Sailors once called a sky filled with these clouds a mackerel sky and believed it meant weather was changing. Cirrocumulus stratiformis perlucidus, the light-through layer. Now that rippled sheet has gaps, small spaces between the cloud, elements where you can glimpse the blue beyond. Perlucidus means shining through, and that's exactly what happens. The sun ... the moon, the blue of the sky, all visible through the interstices of this delicate, high-altitude net. It's a sky with breathing room, with space between the clouds. Cirrocumulus stratiformis UNDULATUS ... The rolling heights. Those ripples now organize themselves into parallel bands or waves, undulating across the sky. They look like sand ripples on a beach ... or waves on water ... but made entirely of ice and air. The atmosphere is rolling, oscillating in slow, majestic waves 6 miles above your head. And these clouds make the invisible visible. Cirrocumulus lenticularis, the high lens. At high altitude, we find clouds shaped like almonds, like lenses ... like flying saucers hovering in the stratosphere, smooth and defined, often mistaken for something otherworldly. These form when stable, moist air flows over barriers or in areas of wind shear. They remain nearly stationary while air flows through them, like standing waves in a river ... constant in position but ever-changing in substance ... and finally ... Cirrocumulus CASTELLANUS ... towers of ice. These develop vertical protrusions, small turrets rising from a common base, like the crenellated towers of a castle wall. They're a sign of instability at high altitude ... each tower reaching upward, indicating that the atmosphere wants to rise. They're often harbingers of change, whispering that the calm may not last ... But for now, they stand like sentinels, guarding the thin air ... These are the first whispers of the sky, high and delicate ... distant and serene. Let them drift through your mind as you drift towards sleep ... quiet. And endlessly peaceful. Segment 2, Patterns FORM order. In the sky, estimated read time, 12 to 14 minutes at a slow, relaxed pace, now. As your breathing deepens ... as your body settles ... we turn our attention to the patterns that emerge when clouds organize themselves, when chaos finds rhythm. When the sky discovers its own sense of order, these are not single clouds, but qualities that clouds can wear, varieties and species that speak of structure ... of repetition, of the gentle mathematics that underlies the atmosphere ... radiatus ... The pattern of convergence. Look across the sky and see them. Cloud, bands or elements arranged in parallel lines that seem to converge toward a point on the horizon, or even two opposite points, like the furrows of a plowed field extending into the distance. like roads stretching toward the vanishing point. The clouds themselves may be at any altitude. Cirrus, cumulus. But when they wear the radiatus pattern, they all tell the same story. The story of perspective, of how parallel lines appear to meet when viewed from within. It's an illusion that reveals truth, showing us that we are always looking from somewhere ... never from nowhere, always positioned in relationship to what we see ... The layered sky. Now imagine the atmosphere stacking itself, one cloud layer overlaying another, at slightly different heights, sometimes moving in different directions. Two sheets of clouds ... existing simultaneously, one partially obscuring the other. You might see two layers of stratocumus ... one darker, one lighter, slowly sliding past each other like tectonic plates of moisture, or two veils of cirrus at different altitudes ... creating subtle depth where there seemed to be only flatness. Duplicatus reminds us that the sky has dimension, that what appears to be a single surface may contain hidden layers. Worlds behind worlds ... all visible if we look carefully. Undulatus ... the rolling rhythm. Here, the clouds organize themselves into waves, parallel bands with undulating patterns, like ripples spreading across water ... like corrugation in a vast sheet of metal. The wavelength may be small, individual clouds just a few meters apart, or grand ... with waves stretching kilometers across the sky. These patterns form when the atmosphere itself is oscillating ... when gravity waves move through layers of air, creating alternating bands of rising and sinking motion. The clouds mark the crests, the blue marks the troughs, and together they reveal the invisible music of the air, the slow, majestic breathing of the atmosphere itself. Stratocumulus stratiformis, the organized layer. Now we shift to clouds that have surrendered their individual identity for collective purpose. STR up to OCUMUL US ... the hybrid. Part stratus layer ... part cumulus lump. When it takes the stratiformis form, it spreads in an extensive sheet or layer. But unlike the featureless stratus, this sheet is composed of distinct elements. Rounded masses ... rolls ... patches ... arranged in groups or lines. Imagine looking up at a sky that's more covered than clear ... a gray layer overhead. But not uniform. You can see the individual elements, tessellated together like stones in a wall, or separated by small gaps. The layer feels low ... close. Sometimes close enough to touch if you climb the hill. It's the cloud of overcast but not oppressive days, when the sky is present, acknowledging you, but not threatening. A protective ceiling broken into manageable pieces, stratocumulus pellucidus. The light between. That layer of stratocumulus now shows its gaps more clearly, pellucidus, shining through. And yes, the sun or moon or blue sky shines through the interstices between cloud elements. The clouds arrange themselves in a pattern, with distinct spaces between, like tiles with grout. Like a mosaic with negative space under a stratocumulus pellucidus sky, light comes and goes ... sun ... shadow ... sun ... shadow ... As the clouds drift overhead, if you're walking, your shadow appears and disappears with gentle rhythm. The world brightens and dims, not dramatically ... but noticeably. A slow pulse of illumination. It's dynamic without being restless, changing without being chaotic. Let that rhythm wash over you ... light and shadow, presence and absence. The gentle alternation that marks the passage of time without demanding your attention. Stratocumulus translucidus. The softened world. Now those stratocumulus elements thin slightly, or arrange themselves in a layer that, while extensive, allows light to pass through. You can see the sun through them, not through gaps between them, but through their actual substance. They're translucent semi-transparent veiling the sun in a soft glow. The light that reaches the earth is diffused soft as if the sky has placed a lampshade over the sun. Colors appear muted gentle pastels instead of primaries. Harsh edges disappear from the world. Shadows grow soft and uncertain. It's the light of an overcast day, but not a dark one. The light of a sky that wants to illuminate without glaring, to reveal without harsh exposure. Everything becomes tender, forgiving, easier on the eyes and on the soul. Stratocumulus. The converging rolls. Those masses and rolls of stratocumulus now organize themselves into parallel bands, oriented so they seem to converge toward the horizon. Long rows of cloud stretching from overhead toward the distance, creating lines that draw the eye outward, onward toward some vanishing point where earth meets sky. Often these form perpendicular to the wind direction. The atmosphere organizing itself into long streets of rising and sinking air. The clouds mark where air rises. The gaps mark where it sinks. Walking beneath a stratocumulus radiatus sky feels like walking down an infinite hallway, the clouds creating perspective, giving structure to the dome above. They can stretch as far as you can see. These parallel roads of cloud leading nowhere and everywhere, inviting you to follow or simply to rest, knowing that the pattern extends beyond your sight, that the world has order even where you cannot see it. Stratocumulus lenticularis, the lens at low altitude. Finally, we encounter the smooth, lens-shaped clouds at a lower level. Stratocumulus lenticularis appears as individual isolated clouds with smooth, defined edges, often elongated, almond-shaped, like great lenses hovering in the lower atmosphere. Unlike most stratocumulus, these are not the product of widespread layering, but of specific atmospheric conditions, often forming downwind of hills or mountains or in areas where winds at different levels interact. They can appear almost stationary, hovering in place while air flows through them, constant in position but ever renewing in substance. They're the standing waves of the lower sky, elegant, distinct, sometimes mistaken for something unnatural because of their unusual smoothness and symmetry. Watching a lenticularis cloud is like watching a sculpture that sculpts itself, maintaining its form while constantly replacing its material. A ship of cloud anchored in the river of air, going nowhere, endlessly arriving. These are the clouds of the world below, the calm and fair companions of our daily lives. Cumulus humulus and mediocris tend to be small and moderate. Stratocumulus in its various forms, creating texture and pattern. In the lower sky, these are clouds at human scale. Clouds we can relate to, clouds that feel like neighbors rather than distant strangers. Let them settle over you now, like a gentle blanket, protective, familiar, calm, the fair weather clouds, the clouds of peace, drifting slowly, nothing, offering their quiet presence as you sink deeper, into rest, and now, as you drift deeper into this journey through the sky, something shifts. The clouds rise to middle altitude. No longer at ground level, no longer in our immediate world. We've entered the realm of a LTOCUMULUS. Clouds that live between, clouds that hint at transition, at weather that may be gathering, at the atmosphere beginning to stir with restless energy. But even restlessness can be beautiful. Even change can be watched with calm acceptance. Let us observe what unfolds. A LTOCUMULUS. The middle heap. These clouds live at mid-levels. typically between 6,000 and 20,000 feet, high enough to feel distant, low enough to show detail. They appear as white or gray patches or layers, composed of rounded masses or rolls, sometimes fibrous or diffuse. They're larger than the tiny grains of cirrocumulus, smaller than the low puffs of stratocumulus, existing in that middle realm where the atmosphere begins to organize itself on a grander scale. An altocumulus sky often arrives in the morning or evening, spreading across the heavens in beautiful patterns, creating what photographers call dramatic skies. They catch the colors of sunrise and sunset magnificently. Turning pink. Orange. Crimson. Gold. But they also whisper of change, of weather systems moving, of the atmosphere in transition. Not today, perhaps. But soon. Something is coming. Altocumulus flocus. The ragged tufts. Now those middle altitude clouds take on a particular character, appearing as small tufts with ragged, shredded edges. Each tuft is separate, individual, and beneath many of them trail thin wisps, virga, precipitation that falls but evaporates before reaching the ground. They look chaotic. Disorganized. As if someone has scattered cotton balls across the sky and then pulled them apart slightly. Flocus indicates instability at mid-levels, the atmosphere wanting to rise but unable to sustain itself. Each tuft represents a small burst of convection, a brief surge upward, followed by dissolution. They appear and disappear, constantly changing, like thoughts that form and scatter, never quite solidifying into anything lasting. Watch them shift, evolve. Fade. And let your own thoughts do the same. Forming. Scattering, requiring no permanence. Altocumulus stratiformis translucidus, the semi-transparent layer. The clouds organize into a more extensive sheet now, spreading across large portions of sky. But thin enough that the sun's position remains clearly visible through them, not through gaps, but through the clouds themselves. The light arrives soft. Filtered. Creating a luminous quality to the day. This is the sky that makes landscape photographers wait and hope. When the sun becomes a glowing orb behind, a translucent veil, when shadows still exist but soften at their edges, when the whole world seems to glow from within. The clouds are there. Present. Influential. But not oppressive. They mediate between earth and sun. Ambassadors of gentler light. And under such a sky, even restlessness feels peaceful. Even transition feels like a gift. Altocumulus, stratiformis pellucidus, the textured ceiling. Now that mid-level layer shows clear gaps between its elements. The sheet exists, but it's composed of distinct cloudlets or patches with visible spaces between them. Through those spaces. The blue sky, or sometimes higher clouds, or the sun and moon shining through the openings like light through a perforated ceiling. The pattern can be regular, almost geometric. Or chaotic and random. Sometimes the gaps are small. Sometimes large. The effect is of a sky that's both present and absent, a layer that asserts itself but also admits the beyond. Walking under such a sky feels like walking under an arbor, where leaves create dappled shade, where light and shadow intermingle, where you're both sheltered and exposed, both covered and free. Altocumulus stratiformis undulatus. The rolling waves of middle air, those patches and cloudlets now, organize themselves into parallel bands, wave patterns that undulate across the sky. The wavelength might be short, clouds just meters apart, or long, with waves stretching across vast distances. They're almost always oriented perpendicular to the wind direction at cloud level, marking gravity waves, atmospheric oscillations made visible. Watch them roll. One wave after another. Rhythmic. hypnotic ... each one identical to the last, yet each one unique in its moment of being. Let your breath synchronize with their rhythm ... that in, out ... rise, and fall ... wave. After wave ... after wave ... lacunos ... net of sky. From the Latin lacuna, meaning gap or hole. These clouds arrange themselves in a pattern of holes, like a net spread across the sky, like lace ... like honeycomb. Thin cloud elements surround the holes, creating a cellular or net-like appearance. Often the holes are smooth and round, sometimes with fringed edges, as if something has taken bites out of a cloud sheet, leaving behind this delicate architecture. It's most commonly seen in cirrocumulus and altocumulus. And when you lie beneath a lacunosus sky, you're looking up through hundreds ... sometimes thousands of small windows to the blue beyond. The effect can be dizzying ... mesmerizing ... a sky that's more absence than presence, more gap than cloud ... and yet unforgettable in its intricate beauty. Let your mind wander through those holes ... each one a portal, each one an opening ... perlucidus ... the transparent veil, shining through. That's what the word means. These are cloud layers, broad sheets or patches, but with distinct gaps between the individual cloud elements. Gaps wide enough that you can clearly see the sun, the moon ... the stars, or higher clouds beyond. The clouds are separate enough ... distinct enough that light passes freely between them. It's like looking through a loosely woven fabric, where the threads are visible, but so too are the spaces between. A pellucidus sky has breathing room ... openness ... It doesn't oppress or enclose. Instead, it frames ... at punctuites ... It creates a relationship between cloud and clear, between presence and absence. The sky becomes a gallery, where clouds are the artwork hung at intervals ... and the blue is the wall on which they're displayed ... translucidus ... The nearly invisible. Here, the clouds grow even more subtle, thin, enough that you can see the sun or moon through them ... But the layer is broad ... extensive, more continuous than pellucidus. The sun might appear as a bright disk behind frosted glass ... Softened but visible. These clouds veil without hiding ... Soften without obscuring. Translucidus stratus can cover the entire sky in a thin gray sheet, but the position of the sun remains clear. Translucidus altocumulus creates a vast field of semi-transparent cloudlets ... each one allowing light to pass through its thin body. It's the quality of gauze, of tissue paper held up to light, of morning mist that hasn't quite decided whether to be or not to be. The light that reaches you is gentler ... diffused ... as if the sky has decided to protect you from harshness ... to filter the world into something softer ... and finally ... nebulous US ... the nebulous one. This is a species rather than a variety, a fundamental type of cloud rather than a quality it wears. Nebulosis appears as a vague nebulous veil, without distinct features or boundaries. There are no definite edges, no separate elements, no texture or detail. Just a thin, featureless sheet of cloud ... It's most commonly seen in stratus and cirrostratus. And when you look up at a nebulosus sky, you might struggle to say exactly where the cloud begins or ends. It simply ... is like fog that has lifted just above your head, or mist that has spread itself across the heavens. There's something primordial about nebulosis, something that recalls the formless void before creation, the undifferentiated potential from which all patterns emerge. Under a nebulosus sky, shadows disappear. The world becomes soft and directionless. The light comes from everywhere and nowhere. Time itself seems to pause ... waiting. In that featureless gray or white that admits no distinctions, these are the patterns of the sky. The varieties and species that bring order to chaos, rhythm to randomness. Radiatus converging, duplicatus layering, undulatus rolling, lacunosus opening, perlucidus reviling, translucidus veiling, nebulosus dissolving all boundaries. Let these patterns settle into your mind, rhythmic, structured yet soft. Feel them organizing your thoughts, creating gentle order as you drift, as you float. As you release yourself into sleep, into the patterned peaceful sky. Segment 3. Calm and fair. The world below. Estimated read time. 12 to 14 minutes at a slow, relaxed pace. Now we descend, gently, from the high, thin wisps and the atmospheric patterns, down to where clouds feel closer, more familiar, more intimate. These are the clouds of fair weather afternoons, the clouds that cast shadows on summer fields, the clouds we watched as children, lying on our backs in the grass, finding shapes and stories. Don't let yourself settle. As we settle into this lower realm, where the sky meets the earth in comfortable conversation, cumulus, humilis, the humble cloud. Humulus means lowly, humble, small. And these clouds live up to their name with gentle modesty. They are cumulus clouds that are wider than they are tall, flattened, restrained. Their tops don't tower or build. They simply exist. Content to be small puffs scattered across a fair weather sky. Picture a late spring morning. Warmth just beginning to rise from the earth. And these small white clouds appearing like cotton balls dotting the blue. They have flat bases, all at the same height, marking the level where rising air reaches its condensation point. But their tops remain low, shallow, going nowhere in particular. They're the clouds of contentment, of days without ambition, of skies that ask nothing from you except perhaps a moment of appreciation. Watch them drift. UNTHREATENING ... Humble companions in a peaceful sky. Cumulus MEDIOCRIS ... the middle way. Now those fair weather clouds begin to grow ... just a little. Mediocris means moderate ... medium. And these cumulus clouds have moderate vertical extent. They're taller than they are wide, showing some development, some upward ambition, but still restrained ... still civilized. Their tops might show slight protuberances, small bulges where rising air pushes upward. But they don't tower into the atmosphere. They don't threaten rain. These are the clouds of a pleasant afternoon, when the earth has warmed sufficiently to send thermals upward. Columns of rising air that carry moisture into visible form. Each cloud marks a thermal, a place where the earth breathed warmth into the sky. They drift and evolve, growing and shrinking ... appearing and disappearing, a gentle dance of creation and dissolution. Under a sky of cumulus MEDIOCRIS ... You feel safe ... comfortable ... in a world where change happens at a measured pace, where growth knows its limits ... CUMUS ... in its general form. Before we name the species, before we distinguished humble from moderate from towering ... there was simply cumulus, heap cloud, pile cloud, the cloud that looks like a cloud in a child's drawing. Brilliant white on top where the sun illuminates it, flat and darker on the bottom where shadow gathers. Cauliflower-like tops, sharp edges where cloud meets clear air. A sense of solidity despite being made of nothing but tiny water droplets. Suspended in air. CUMUS clouds are born from convection ... from warmth rising. They mark invisible columns of ascending air. And in their shapes we see the sculptural work of atmospheric motion. Some look like ships ... some like animals. Some like castles or mountains or faces. They're the clouds of imagination ... The ones that invited us to see beyond what is, to find stories in the sky. Let your mind wander through their shapes, finding whatever forms emerge. Letting go of the need to name or categorize ... simply seeing. Simply being with these friendly, familiar clouds. Under such a sky, people feel the weight of anticipation. Something is coming ... You can feel it. Though nothing has arrived yet. The air often feels heavy ... still ... waiting. Birds fly lower. The world grows quiet. It's the atmosphere holding its breath and inviting you to hold yours just for a moment. In this suspended time, altostratus radiatus ... the converging veil. Even in uniformity, pattern can emerge. Now the altostratus layer shows parallel bands or striations, aligned so they appear to converge toward the horizon. The layer is still extensive ... still gray, still featureless in most respects. But now you can see structure within it. Lines that stretch toward a vanishing point. Perspective written in cloud ... These bands might be subtle ... barely visible. Just slight variations in the gray. Or they might be more pronounced ... alternating lighter and darker stripes. They reveal the wind structure at cloud level, showing that the atmosphere is organized, that flow has direction, that even in apparent uniformity, there is order ... movement ... intention ... following those converging lines with your eyes ... letting them draw your gaze toward the horizon ... and be mesmerizing. They seem to lead somewhere, to promise something beyond sight. And yet they also trap you, because no matter how far you look ... they continue ... converging but never quite meeting. Leading but never quite arriving. Altostratus undulatus ... the rippled veil. The layer now shows wave patterns. Gentle undulations visible in its base or throughout its structure. The gray sheet isn't quite flat. It rises and falls, rolls like a vast frozen ocean overhead. The waves might be subtle, visible only as slight variations in tone and texture ... or more dramatic ... clear undulations that move slowly across the sky. These waves form from gravity waves in the atmosphere. Oscillations in layers of air, the sky breathing in slow, majestic rhythm. Under an undulatus altostratus, you might feel as if you're at the bottom of a gray sea, looking up at waves passing overhead, suspended in liquid atmosphere. The sense of being submerged, of existing below something vast and flowing, can be both unsettling and strangely comforting. Let those waves wash over you ... one after another ... each one slightly different, each one the same. Let your thoughts rise and fall with them ... gently ... without resistance. Accepting the rhythm that the atmosphere provides. Altostratus duplicatis, the layered warning. Now depth reveals itself. 2 layers of altostratus, one above the other, at different altitudes, sometimes moving at different speeds or in different directions. The lower layer might be darker, more substantial, while the higher layer shows through it as a lighter gray. Or they might be similar in tone, distinguishable only by subtle texture differences, or by the way they move independently. This doubling creates a sense of complexity ... of depth ... of multiple processes happening simultaneously in the atmosphere. It's not just one weather system approaching, but layers of influence, multiple streams of moisture and air at different levels ... all converging, all contributing to what's coming. The sky has dimension ... has depth, is not a single surface but a volume, filled with layered intention ... watching duplicitous layers slide past each other, one faster ... one slower, can create an illusion of depth and motion that's almost vertiginous. The sky becomes three-dimensional, and you become aware of how much atmosphere exists above you. How many miles of air and cloud and moisture ... all the way up to where the atmosphere fades into space. autostratus opac US ... The veil complete. Finally, ... the sun disappears entirely. The altostratus layer is now thick enough ... dense enough ... that no hint of the sun can penetrate it. The sky is uniformly gray, or perhaps darker. Darker gray ... approaching charcoal. No shadows exist. The light is completely diffused, scattered by countless water droplets and ice crystals ... arriving from all directions at once. This is the sky of late afternoon before snow ... or hours before a steady rain. The warning is clear now. Not subtle ... not hinted. Weather is coming. The atmosphere has made its decision. The altostratus opacus is often the forward edge of a warm front, the leading edge of a major weather system ... and beneath it. You wait, but there's something almost peaceful in this certainty. The waiting is nearly over. The question has been answered. Yes ... Weather is coming. Yes ... Change is imminent, and in knowing this ... in accepting it, there's release. No more wondering. No more anticipation. Just acceptance and preparation, and the strange calm that comes when uncertainty resolves itself. The world under altostratus opacus is muted, ... hushed, ... waiting. The air is still. The light is gentle despite the darkness. Everything feels padded, ... softened, ... as if the atmosphere has wrapped the world in gray cotton ... protecting it ... preparing it for what comes next. This is the warning veil, the gray messenger, the sky that speaks of transformation approaching. Not frightening ... honest. The atmosphere is gathering. Its shelf. Systems are converging. Change is written in that featureless gray that stretches from horizon to horizon. But even in warning, even in the held breath before change, there is beauty, the softness of the light, the gentleness with which the sky obscures the sun, the way the world becomes quiet ... meditative ... turned inward. The veil is a gift, in its way ... a chance to pause, to prepare, to acknowledge that nothing stays the same forever, that fair weather gives way to storms ... and storms to fair weather again, in endless cycle. Let the gray settle over you now, like a blanket ... like a soft weight. Let the held breath become your breath ... waiting. You are safe beneath the veil. You are held. The warning is not a threat, just information, just the sky being honest about its intentions ... and in that honesty, in that gray waiting ... find your rest. The veil will pass, weather will come and go, but for now, for this moment ... there is only the soft gray ... the even light, the suspended time ... and your breath, slow and steady ... waiting ... resting ... at peace beneath the warning veil. Segment Vi. The storm rises. Estimated read time 12 to 14 minutes at a slow, relaxed pace. The waiting ends. The atmosphere releases its held breath and surges upward. Now we witness the sky's most dramatic creation. Clouds that tower ... build, that transform the vertical dimension into architecture of water and ice. These are the giants ... the clouds of power and motion. The storms that remake the sky, even from a distance, even in description, even as you rest safely here. These clouds command respect. Let us watch them build ... with awe, with reverence, with the knowledge that we observe from a place of safety. Cumulus conges to us ... towering heap. It begins with ambition, a cumulus cloud that refuses to stay moderate, that pushes upward, growing taller and taller, until it becomes a tower in the sky. Congestus means heaped up ... piled ... congested ... and these clouds are exactly that. Tremendous vertical accumulations of cloud droplets ... rising 5, 15,000 feet above their bases. The updrafts inside are powerful. Air rushing upward at 20, 40 miles per hour or more. The cloud boils upward, its top cauliflower, bulging, pushing against the resistance of the upper atmosphere. It's brilliant white where the sun strikes it. Deeply shadowed on its underside, sharp-edged, defined, muscular, but notice. The top hasn't yet glaciated. The summit is still composed of water droplets. Still sharp, still crisp. Still following the familiar cumulus form. It towers, yes, It dominates, yes, but it hasn't yet transformed into storm. It exists at the threshold, full of potential energy, full of rising motion, asking whether it will continue upward into cumulonimbus, or whether it will collapse, spent, dissolving back into the air that formed it. Watching cumulus congestus build is like watching an athlete in the moment before peak exertion, all coiled energy, all focused power, about to release, or about to exhaust itself trying. Cumulonimbus. CALVUS, the first transformation. The decision is made. The cloud continues upward, pushes into the colder regions of the atmosphere, and its top begins to freeze. Ice crystals start to form, but the summit still has a somewhat rounded, dome-like appearance. Calvus means bald, smooth. And yes, the top is still relatively smooth, not yet showing the fibrous, wispy structure of mature cumulonimbus, but no longer the sharp cauliflower of cumulus. That this is the moment of transition, the threshold crossed. It is no longer just a towering cumulus. It has become a storm cloud. Somewhere inside, precipitation is forming. Rain, or hail, or both, beginning their journey downward. Lightning may be flickering within, though perhaps not yet visible. The cloud is committed. It will become storm. The Calvus stage is brief, often lasting only minutes. A momentary pause as the cloud gathers itself for what comes next. The top is smoothing, softening, preparing for the explosive vertical growth that characterizes mature cumulonimbus. The air inside is turbulent, chaotic, rising in some, PLACE, sinking in others, The cloud a battleground of competing air currents. Undulatus at this altitude can be spectacular, covering the entire sky in a corrugated pattern, like ripples frozen in place, like the surface of the ocean lifted 6 miles into the air. The regularity can be hypnotic, wave after wave after wave, each one a replica of the last, yet each one unique in its precise form. Let your breathing synchronize with their rhythm. If you can perceive it, in and out, rise and fall, the slow oscillation of the atmosphere becoming your own. Autocumulus. Stratiformis, LACUNOSUS, the honeycomb sky. And now something remarkable occurs. The cloud layer develops holes, gaps that are more or less regularly spaced, creating a net-like or a honeycomb appearance. Thin cloud elements surround the holes, and through each opening, you see the blue beyond, or sometimes another cloud layer higher up. Lacunosus is relatively rare, And when it appears, it's unforgettable. The sky becomes a pattern, a tessellation. Nature creating geometry without compass or ruler. The holes can be round, oval, irregular. Sometimes they're edged with smooth cloud boundaries. Sometimes with ragged, torn edges. Looking up through a lacunosus sky feels like looking through a vast, living net. And you might wonder whether you're looking up at clouds, or down at the cells of some enormous organism. The sky itself breathing through countless small mouths, altocumulus castellanus, the towers of instability. Now the clouds develop upward. Castellanus means castle-like, And these clouds grow turrets ... Vertical protrusions rising from a common base. Each tower is taller than it is wide, giving the cloud a crenellated appearance, like the battlements of a fortress wall stretching across the middle atmosphere. This is a sign, a warning written in water vapor ... that the atmosphere is becoming unstable. The air wants to rise. These towers are trying to grow, reaching upward, testing whether they can develop into something taller. Perhaps into towering cumulus ... perhaps into storms. Often they appear in the morning ... and by afternoon, they've either dissipated or evolved into something larger. Their potential, made visible ... the moment before change. The hesitation before commitment, altocumulus castellanus undulatus. The waving towers. And now those castle turrets organize themselves into waves, parallel bands of towering elements, undulating across the sky. It's like watching fortification walls roll across the heavens, each wall complete with its towers and gaps, and all of them moving in rhythm. In waves, this combination is particularly beautiful, and particularly ominous if you're concerned with weather forecasting. The waves show atmospheric oscillation ... The towers show instability. Together, they announce that the middle atmosphere is both organized and unstable, structured and ready to change. But from below ... from where you rest, there's simply magnificent ... a pattern of patterns, order, and chaos dancing together, finding temporary harmony before transformation. Altocumulus lenticularis, the stationary lens. Amidst all this change and pattern ... suddenly ... stillness. Lenticularis clouds at mid-altitude appear smooth ... lens shape ... almond like ... with clearly defined edges. They often form downwind of mountains ... or in areas where atmospheric waves create zones of condensation. And here's what's remarkable: they appear to hover, motionless ... while wind flows through them at perhaps 40 or 50 miles per hour. They're standing waves made visible. Clouds that form on the upstream side dissolve on the downstream side, maintaining constant position while constantly renewing their substance. Like a flag that appears still because new fabric continuously replaces old. These clouds seem to defy the wind that creates them. Watching them is meditation ... seeing permanence and impermanence unified. Form persisting while substance flows ... The eternal dance of being and becoming. Orographic altocumulus. The mountain made. Finally ... clouds born of geography. Orographic means mountain generated ... And these altocumulus form when stable air flows over elevated terrain. The air rises mechanically ... forced upward by the physical barrier of the mountain. And if it's moist enough ... clouds form on the windward side or just downwind of the peaks. These clouds stay tied to their geographic origins, appearing in the same places day after day when conditions are right. They mark the invisible interaction between earth and air, between solid ground and flowing atmosphere. They show us that clouds are not just atmospheric phenomena, but conversations between the earth and sky, dialogues between the fixed and the flowing. The sky is changing. Something is stirring at middle altitude. The clouds speak of transition, of instability, of the atmosphere organizing itself for what comes next. But even in change, even in restlessness, there is pattern ... beauty. Something worth observing with quiet attention. Let these middle clouds drift through your consciousness now. Neither low nor high ... neither settled nor chaotic. Existing in that between space where transformation happens. Where what was becomes what will be. And in that space, in that transition, find your own rest, knowing that change is natural, that the sky is always becoming, and that you ... can rest even as things shift. Finding peace in the middle realm. In the space between segment V, the warning veil, estimated read time, 12 to 14 minutes at a slow, relaxed pace, and now the sky draws a curtain. The individual clouds ... the distinct elements, the patterns in patches, all begin to merge ... to unite into something broader ... more encompassing. We enter the realm of LTOSTRATS ... the veil cloud ... the gray sheet that can cover the entire sky from horizon to horizon ... This is the pause ... the held breath ... the moment when the atmosphere gathers itself, not yet storm ... but no longer fair. The in-between time ... the threshold. The waiting ... let you sit with this waiting and find the strange peace that lives within it. Altostratus translucidus, the thin veil. It begins subtly. A grayish or bluish sheet spreads across the sky ... uniform. Extensive, but still thin enough that you can see the sun through it. Not sharply ... not as a defined disk, but as a bright area ... glow. A presence diffused through the layer. The sun becomes gentle ... weakened, casting no shadows, or only the faintest ghosts of shadows. Under an altostratus translucidus sky, the world loses its harshness. Everything softens. The light is directionless ... coming from everywhere and nowhere, as if the entire sky has become a single, vast lamp. Colors mute slightly, contrasts fade. The day becomes dreamlike ... suspended ... existing in a perpetual twilight that isn't quite day and isn't quite dusk. Time itself seems uncertain ... This is the sky that makes you look up and wonder ... Is rain coming? Maybe, maybe not. The veil is there, acknowledging that something is happening in the atmosphere ... That moisture is gathering at mid-levels ... That a weather system is likely approaching, but not yet. Not now. For now, just this gray softness. This waiting light ... ALTOSTRATUS ... in its fuller form. The layer thickens. Now the sun is barely visible, or not visible at all. Just a vague brightness somewhere overhead. The altostratus sheet has become substantial. Thousands of feet. Thick sometimes, composed of water droplets and ice crystals ... stretching across hundreds or thousands of square miles. A single cloud ... if you can call it that ... covering everything you can see. The sky is gray. Not the dark gray of storm ... but a flat, even, middle gray, featureless, without texture or detail. Just ... gray. Endless gray in all directions. The horizon becomes uncertain. Where does the sky end and the earth begin? Everything blends ... merges. Becomes continuous. CAUDA ... the tail cloud. A horizontal tail-like cloud extending from the moruse or wall cloud toward the precipitation area. It appears as bands of cloud ... often ragged, connecting the wall cloud to the main storm. These are inflow bands, showing air flowing into the storm's updraft, moisture being drawn in, feeding the rotation ... The cauda streams horizontally ... sometimes moving rapidly, clouds rushing along defined paths, converging on the wall cloud. It makes the storm's circulation visible, showing how it draws air from the surrounding environment, how it feeds itself, how it sustains its power. The bands may be smooth or turbulent ... single or multiple, all pointing toward the center of rotation ... To see a well-developed cauda is to understand the storm as a living system, with circulatory structure, with feeding mechanisms, with organization far beyond random turbulence ... FLUM EN ... beaver's tail. Another inflow feature, but this one appears as a smooth, elevated cloud band, rising from the lowered cloud base and extending inward toward the storm's updraft. It's often smooth, dash-edged ... laminar, appearing almost sculpted. The name comes from the Latin for river, or stream ... and yes, it looks like a stream of cloud flowing into the storm. The flumen is associated with significant tornadoes ... mocking strong, organized inflow. It's smoother than the ragged cauda ... more defined, showing stable laminar flow rather than turbulent convergence. Storm chasers seeing a pronounced flumen know they're witnessing a particularly well-organized ... potentially violent storm. The smoothness contrasts with the chaos around it, a ribbon of order in the midst of violence ... air flowing steadily ... purposefully ... feeding the beast ... pileus ... The cap cloud, now something gentler ... though no less dramatic. A smooth cap-like cloud appearing above a rising cumulus or cumulonimbus tower. The pileus forms when the rising cloud pushes into stable air above, lifting that air ... cooling it to condensation, creating a temporary cap. The cap is smooth, often lens-shaped, hovering above the boiling cauliflower of the cloud below. But pileus clouds are transient, lasting only minutes. The rising cloud pushes through them ... pierces them, absorbs them. They mark a moment of resistance ... the atmosphere saying, wait, before the updraft says no and continues upward. Sometimes multiple pileus clouds form at different levels ... stacked like smooth hats. Each one temporary. Each one marking a layer where stability tried to resist ... in perfect light. Pileus clouds can show iridescence. Pastel colors shimmering across their smooth surfaces ... green ... pink. Blue ... created by diffraction of light through uniformly sized droplets. Beautiful ... ephemeral, gone almost before you fully register them. VELUM ... veil above. Similar to PILEUS ... but more extensive, a widespread veil or sheet of cloud ... through which cumulus or cumulonimbus towers penetrate. The velum remains more persistent than pileus, often covering large areas, while individual convective towers punch through it like islands rising from a gray sea, looking up through a velum. You see the veil overhead ... and then the bright white towers rising through it ... piercing it, continuing upward into clear air above. The contrast is striking. The smooth gray veil and the textured, boiling towers that refuse to be contained by it. Velum speaks of layered atmosphere ... complexity ... of systems operating at different levels simultaneously. The veil drifts one direction. The towers build in place or move another direction. Independence within relationship ... asperitas ... The roughened chaos. One of the newest cloud classifications, officially recognized only in 2017. Asperitas appears as a wave-like, chaotic structure on the underside of clouds ... creating an appearance of roughness ... turbulence ... disorder. The cloud base undulates dramatically ... with sharp peaks and troughs, creating a surface that looks like a stormy sea viewed from below ... The name comes from the Latin for roughness ... and the appearance is indeed rough ... violent ... unsettling. The undulations can be spectacular, frightening even, making the sky appear to boil overhead. But Asperitas rarely produces severe weather. It's dramatic in appearance, but usually benign in behavior. A storm cloud having an emotional breakdown without actually doing anything destructive. People who photograph Asperitas clouds often describe them as apocalyptic, as looking like the sky is falling, as unlike anything they've seen before. The chaotic wave-like motion seems impossible. And yet there it is ... overhead ... undulating ... roughened ... wild ... mama ... the hanging pouches, and finally ... mama or mammatus, smooth pouch-like structures hanging from the underside of clouds ... especially from the anvil of cumulonimbus. They appear as rounded, hanging bulges, like udders, like pouches ... creating a bizarre, lumpy appearance on an otherwise smooth cloud base. Mama formed from sinking air, pockets of cloud descending into clearer air below ... creating these Characteristic pouches. They're often associated with severe storms, appearing on anvil clouds. Sometimes covering hundreds of square miles of sky in a field of hanging bulges. The effect is surreal. Unsettling. Beautiful in a strange way. Each mammatus pouch is smooth. Rounded. Distinct. They hang in rows or random patterns, all oriented downward. Gravity made visible in cloud form. In the right light, especially at sunset. They can glow with incredible callus, the rounded forms catching light and shadow, creating a three-dimensional texture across the sky that seems too organized to be natural, too chaotic to be artificial. Watching a well-developed mammatus display is like watching the sky turn inside out. Like seeing the cloud from a perspective that shouldn't exist. Like the atmosphere has decided to show you something impossible. These are the violent, the chaotic. The dramatic expressions of storms. Arcus advancing, volatus rolling, Murus rotating, Cauda streaming, Flumen flowing, Pileus capping, Velum veiling, Asperitas undulating, Mama hanging, each one a signature, a special feature. A moment when the storm writes its power in forms that defy ordinary cloudscape, but you have witnessed them from safety. You have seen their power without being threatened. You have observed the peak, the climax, the emotional intensity of the storm's expression, and now, having witnessed having understood you can let it go. Let the violence fade, let the motion still, let the drama dissolve back into calm air. The storm has shown you everything, and now now it's time to rest, to release, to let the intensity transform into peace. Into sleep. Into the quiet that follows all storms. Breathe slowly. The violence is past, motion settles, and you remain safe. Calm. Drifting into rest. Segment 8. Rain and weight. Estimated. Read time 12 to 14 minutes at a slow, relaxed pace. After the drama, after the violence, after the towering structures and chaotic motion, the sky settles into something different. Not calm. But steady. Not gentle. But persistent. The clouds lower. Thicken, and begin their patient work of releasing moisture back to earth. This is the sky of rain, of weight, of gray that stretches on and on. Let us sit with this heaviness and find the strange comfort it offers. Nimbostratus. The rain cloud, dark gray, sometimes nearly black. A thick, formless layer that obscures the sun completely. Nimbus means rain. Stratus means layer. And yes. This is the quintessential rain layer. It appears diffuse, without clear edges. Without structure or definition. Just an extensive, heavy mass of cloud that may cover the sky from horizon to horizon. The base is ragged. Often very low. Sometimes low enough to brush the tops of hills. Scraps of cloud drift beneath it. Panas clouds. Fragments torn from the main layer by turbulence. Everything appears gray. Sodden. Weighted with moisture. This is the cloud that brings the steady rain. The all-day rain. The rain that doesn't thunder or flash, but simply falls. And falls. And falls. Under a nimbostratus sky, the world becomes muted. Colors drain away. Everything takes on shades of gray and green. The light is dim, but even shadowless, directionless. Time becomes uncertain. Is it morning? Afternoon? The gray light gives no clues. You exist in a perpetual twilight, a day that never quite begins and never quite ends. Suspended in grayness, but there is something meditative about this. The constancy, the persistence. The way the rain continues without pause. Without variation. Just steady. Reliable. Soaking into the earth. Nimbostratus asks nothing. Dramatic of you. It doesn't threaten with lightning or impress with towers. It simply is. gray, heavy, present. And in its presence, there's a kind of peace. Nimbostratus PRAECIPITAO ... rain made visible. Now that heavy gray layer releases its burden. Precipitatio means precipitation falling and reaching the ground ... And yes ... rain falls. Not in bursts or squalls ... but steadily ... continuously. Sometimes for hours. Sometimes for days. The rain is usually moderate. Neither light drizzle nor violent downpour ... just steady rain. The kind that accumulates slowly but surely. Beneath the nimbostratus PRAECIPITITIO ... everything drips. Trees shed water in continuous streams. Gutters overflow. Puddles form and spread and merge into sheets of water. The sound is constant. The patter on roofs ... the hiss on pavement. The gurgle in drains. A white noise of falling water ... pervasive ... inescapable. Oddly soothing. Cumulus capillatus, the hair-like crown. Now the transformation completes. The top of the cloud is pushed so high, into air so cold ... that ice crystals dominate. And these ice crystals create a different texture ... fibrous ... wispy ... Hair-like. Capillatus means hairy ... Yes. The cloud's summit now streams out in delicate filaments ... Strands of ice blown by the high-altitude winds, creating appearance of wild hair, or flames frozen in place ... This is a mature storm. Powerful. Fully developed. The cloud might tower 40,000 ... 50,000. Even 60,000 feet into the atmosphere ... from base to summit. Inside ... the updrafts are violent. Air rising at speeds that would lift a car, that would carry hailstones the size of golf balls ... or larger ... Up and down and up again until they grow to terrifying size. Rain falls heavily from the base. Lightning flashes, thunder rolls across the landscape. The cloud is alive ... dynamic, constantly changing shape, constantly regenerating itself. The capillatus top streams downwind ... mocking the high-altitude jet stream, showing the speed and direction of the upper winds that brush past this towering giant. But from a distance, from where you rest, it is beautiful. Terrible ... yes ... powerful ... yes ... dangerous if you're beneath it ... absolutely, but also magnificent. The sky expressing its full range of power. The atmosphere demonstrating what it can do when conditions align. Cumulonimbus, Incus ... the anvil. The cloud reaches the tropopause ... the boundary between the troposphere and stratosphere, and can rise no further. The updraft hits this stable layer like a ceiling and spreads horizontally, flowing outward in all directions ... but especially downwind. The top of the cloud flatens ... expands ... takes on the shape of an anvil, smooth on top ... flat, extending sometimes dozens of miles from the main updraft tower. The Incus is the signature of the most powerful storms. That anvil top ... composed entirely of ice crystals ... can persist for hours ... drifting downwind long after the storm itself has dissipated. The smooth, flat underside of the anvil contrasts with the turbulent, boiling tower beneath it. Above, order. The ice crystals settling into a uniform layer. Below ... chaos. The continued vertical development of the storm. Pilots avoid flying under anvils, even when they extend far from the parent storm ... because turbulence can exist for many miles. Invisible but violent. The anvil is a warning, a marker of power ... a sign written across the sky in ice ... Here be storms. Watching an anvil cloud drift overhead ... seeing that flat, smooth base pass across the sun ... creates an eerie light, a strange twilight. Even at midday, the world dims, Colors shift. Everything takes on an otherworldly quality. And you know without being told that something powerful is nearby. Even if you cannot see the storm itself. Capillatu, us. The species of hair. Now we recognize capillatus not just as a stage of cumulonimbus. But as a species in its own. Right. Any cloud showing that characteristic fibrous, wispy, hair-like texture at its top, ice crystals streaming out, creating that wild, untamed appearance. It marks maturity, fully developed vertical structure. The presence of abundant ice, capillus can appear on cumulonimbus. As we've discussed. But the term describes that essential quality, that transformation from water to ice, from rounded to fibrous, from young to mature. It's the moment when the cloud reveals its full nature, when it shows that it has reached the cold heights, that it has achieved its vertical potential. The streaming filaments can be beautiful in sunset light, catching the last rays of the sun long after the ground has fallen into shadow. Glowing pink. Orange. Gold. While the world below darkens, the storm top on fire with light, painting the evening sky. Calvus. The smooth species, and in contrast, calvus as a species describes clouds whose tops remain smooth. Rounded, dome-like, even when they've reached significant height and begun to glaciate, the transition from water to ice. But before the ice crystals have separated and spread into that fibrous structure, the moment of smoothness. Of roundness, before the hair develops, calvus clouds are still powerful, still potentially dangerous. But they show restraint. They've achieved height, but not yet the full chaotic maturity of capillatus. They're the storms that might still collapse, might still decide against full development, or they're the young storms, just beginning, moments away from transformation. Looking at a calvus cloud. You see potential. You see the smooth dome, and this could become something larger. Something more powerful, or it could exhaust itself. The atmosphere is deciding. The cloud is asking the question, will I continue? And the answer hasn't yet been given. The storm rises. Has risen. Towers above the landscape in sculptural power. These are the clouds that change weather, that create the drama. That command attention. From cumulus congestus reaching upward, to cumulonimbus calvus making its commitment, to capillatus in full maturity, to the amble spreading across the sky. These are the giants, but you. You are safe here. You observe from a distance. You witness the power without being threatened by it. Let the image of these towering clouds fill your mind. Vertical, dramatic, alive with motion, and then let them drift away. Into memory. Into dream, knowing that the storm will pass, that calm will return, that even the mightiest clouds eventually dissolve back into invisible air. The storm has risen, and you have witnessed it, and now you can rest. As the energy dissipates, as the drama fades. As the sky settles once more into peace. Segment 7. Violence and motion. Estimated read time, 13 to 15 minutes at a slow, relaxed pace. Now we witness the storm's wildest expressions, the moments when the atmosphere abandons all restraint, when clouds become sculpture in motion, when violence and beauty intertwine so completely that they cannot be separated. These are the accessory clouds. The special features, the dramatic signatures that storms write across the sky. You are safe here, breathing slowly, observing from absolute safety, watching nature's most intense displays with calm detachment. Let us witness together. Arcus. The shelf of rage. A low, horizontal cloud formation, appearing as a wedge or shelf. Attached to the base of a thunderstorm. Dark. Ominous. Rolling, advancing like a solid wall. The arcus marks the leading edge of the storm's outflow. Cold air rushing, down from the thunderstorm ... spreading outward, lifting the warm air ahead of it. And where that lifting occurs, the arcus forms . To stand beneath an approaching arcus is to watch a horizontal tornado, a rotating shelf cloud bearing down ... the sky itself lowering ... darkening ... coming for you. The leading edge often appears ragged ... turbulent ... sometimes rotating visibly behind it. Rain ... or hail. Or both. A curtain of precipitation following the advancing shelf, but observe it here, from safety ... from rest. Watch how it moves ... terseful ... relentless. See how it marks the boundary between the calm before and the storm itself. The arcus is the announcement ... the herald ... the moment when the storm declares its arrival. Dark ... unforgettable ... the roll cloud, rarer than a RCUS ... even more dramatic. A completely detached horizontal tube of cloud ... rolling, rotating around its horizontal axis, advancing independent of any parent cloud base. It appears to tumble slowly through the air, a cylinder of condensation, sometimes stretching for hundreds of miles ... Only a few hundred feet above the ground. Volutes forms when cold outflow from a distant storm lifts stable, moist air ... creating this detached roller. It moves with eerie smoothness ... like a great wheel turned on its side, rolling across the landscape. The rotation is visible ... mesmerizing. People who witness Volutes never forget it. This impossible tumbling cloud ... appearing out of nowhere, rolling past, and continuing on its way. Imagine lying on your back, watching it pass overhead ... that slow rotation, that sense of something massive moving with dreamlike fluidity. It asks nothing of you, threatens nothing, simply rolls onward, following laws of physics and moisture and temperature gradient. A phenomenon so rare that some people live their entire lives without seeing one ... MURUS ... The wool cloud. Beneath the main updraft of a severe thunderstorm ... a localized lowering appears. The cloud base drops, forming a wall-like structure ... often rotating. This is the MURUS ... the wall cloud ... and it marks the area of strongest rotation ... the place where tornadoes may form. Not all wall clouds produce tornadoes ... but all tornadoes come from wall clouds. The MURUS appears darker than the surrounding cloud base, more substantial, and it may show rapid, chaotic motion. Cloud tags ... small fragments of cloud ... rush inward toward it, feeding the rotation. The whole structure might rotate visibly, turning like a slow carousel, or oscillating, rising and lowering ... breathing with the storm's updraft. Storm chasers watch the wall cloud with intense focus, looking for the moment when rotation tightens, when the lowering extends downward, when condensation forms into funnel. The MURUS' potential made visible. The storm's power concentrated ... deciding. Watching palace clouds drift past is watching dissolution in progress. Each fragment is a small surrender. Each ragged piece is evidence of structural failure. The storm is not collapsing suddenly ... but fraying ... coming apart at the edges, losing definition, losing itself piece by piece. Cumulus FRACTUS ... broken heaps. The convective clouds, the cumulus that built so proudly into the afternoon ... now break apart. Fractus means broken ... fractured ... and these are cumulus clouds in pieces. Small ... irregular, with torn edges and unstable forms. They appear and disappear rapidly, forming from rising air, dissolving moments later, reforming elsewhere. A chaotic dance of creation and destruction. Cumulus fractus often appears during or after rain, when the atmosphere is turbulent, When stability is uncertain, the clouds can't maintain themselves. They form ... but something prevents them from developing. They fracture ... break ... scatter. The sky fills with these small, ragged pieces. None of them lasting, all of them transient. There's a restless quality to a sky full of cumulus fractus. Nothing settles. Nothing stabilizes. The clouds are trying to form but cannot. The air is trying to organize but fails. You're watching the atmosphere in a state of indecision, unable to commit to clear skies or to storm ... Stuck in this fractured middle state where fragments appear and disappear with anxious frequency, stratus fractus ... Broken veils. Now the layer clouds fracture. Stratus that might once have been continuous ... uniform ... extensive, breaks into pieces. Irregular patches of cloud drift beneath a higher layer or appear in isolation ... dark, ragged, moving rapidly in the low-level wind. Unlike the rounded pieces of cumulus fractus ... These are more sheet-like, more horizontal ... but equally broken, equally unstable. Stratus fractus often appears beneath nimbostratus, beneath rain clouds ... as the main layer begins to break up, or it forms in the turbulent air after a storm has passed, when moisture remains but organization has failed. The fragments drift past like torn fabric ... like sheets ripped from a larger whole. Evidence of something that was unified but is unified no longer. The movement can be fast, disconcertingly fast. Low clouds racing overhead, appearing from one direction, disappearing into another ... the sky in visible flux. Nothing is permanent. Nothing holds its form for more than moments. The atmosphere is in transition, and these fractured pieces mark the uncertainty, the instability, the between state fractus of cumulus. This specific brokenness, let us be more specific now. When cumulus clouds specifically break, when the heaps fracture, they create a particular appearance. The clouds are low ... ragged, with very irregular bases. The edges are torn ... indistinct. They evolve rapidly, constantly changing shape. Some are small, just wisps. Others are larger fragments, but still clearly broken. Still obviously incomplete. They form in unstable conditions ... in turbulent air. In situations where convection wants to happen but cannot organize. The thermals rise. Moisture condenses ... clouds form. But they cannot maintain themselves against the shear, against the dry air, against the instability. So they break and reform and break again. A sky full of fractus cumulus feels unsettled. The atmosphere hasn't decided what it wants to do. Clear? Cloudy? Stormy? None of the above? All of the above? The indecision is visible ... palpable. Written in these broken, reforming, rebreaking fragments that refuse to commit to any stable state. Fractus of stratus ... The torn layers, and when stratus specifically fractures, when the layers tear, you see something different. More horizontal fragmentation, sheets breaking into irregular patches. Fragments drift at low altitude ... often very low. Sometimes creating a ragged ceiling that seems to press down on the landscape. These appear frequently in the aftermath of widespread precipitation, as nimbostratus breaks up ... as the organized rain system moves away, leaving behind these scattered remnants. The air is still moist, the atmosphere still wants to condense, but the organization is gone, the structure has failed. Only pieces remain. Walking beneath stratus fractus feels like walking beneath a sky that's coming apart. The clouds are close ... too close. And they're moving fast. And they're not whole. They're fragments, pieces, evidence of something that was complete but is complete no longer. The sky is showing you its dissolution, its return to disorder, its release from the coherence that created the rain. The storm loses cohesion. The tower fractures. The rain either falls or evaporates. The clouds break into pieces, ragged, unstable. What was unified becomes scattered. What was organized becomes chaotic. What was powerful becomes weak, distributed. Unable to maintain itself. But this is not tragedy. This is process. This is necessary. The storm cannot exist forever. The structure cannot persist indefinitely. Everything that rises must eventually descend. Everything that organizes must eventually dissolve. And in that dissolution, in that fracture, there is a kind of release, the effort ends. The intensity cannot sustain itself. The clouds break, and breaking, begin to release their grip on the sky. The storm is letting go. And in letting go, it allows room for what comes next. Let this dissolution settle into your awareness. The breaking, the fracturing, the scattering into pieces. Feel how nothing maintains its form forever. How even the mightiest structures eventually come apart. How organization gives way to disorder, which in turn gives way to new organization, An endless cycle. You too can let go. Let your thoughts fracture, scatter. Break into pieces that drift and dissolve. Let coherence give way. Let organization release. Let yourself come gently apart, knowing that coming apart is not ending, just transformation, just transition. Just the necessary dissolution before rest, the storm breaks, the clouds fracture, and you fragment by fragment, thought by thought, breath by breath, dissolve into the approaching calm, after the fracture, after the breaking, after the restless scattering of fragments, the sky settles into something quieter, lower, simpler. The drama has passed. The violence has exhausted itself. What remains is the lowest cloud, the simplest form. The sky reduced to its most basic expression. This is stratus. The layer, the veil, the fog that has lifted just enough to no longer be fog, but not enough to reveal the sun. Let us rest here, in this muted world, where everything softens, where edges disappear, where the sky meets the earth in gentle, gray communion, stratus, The layer itself. Imagine waking to a world without shadows, a sky that is not sky, just gray, uniform gray, stretching from horizon to horizon, low, so low that it brushes hilltops, so low that you feel you could reach up and touch it if you climb just a little higher. This is stratus in its purest form. It appears as a gray or whitish cloud layer with a fairly uniform base. The base is often quite even, horizontal, like a ceiling painted gray and suspended just a few hundred feet above the ground. Sometimes the base is a bit ragged, slightly uneven, but never dramatically so, never chaotic, just low, gray. Present. Under a stratus sky, the world becomes muted. Colors lose their vibrancy. Everything takes on shades of gray and muted green and brown. The light is soft, diffused, coming from everywhere and nowhere. There are no shadows, or only the faintest suggestions of shadow. Distance becomes uncertain. The horizon blurs. Where does the earth end and the sky begin? The gray above and the gray in the distance seem to merge, creating a sense of enclosure, of being inside something, contained. Stratus often forms overnight. As air cools, as moisture condenses near the ground, as fog forms and then lifts slightly with morning warmth. Or it persists after rain, after nimbostratus has passed, leaving behind this low, lingering layer, this remnant. This quiet aftermath is the cloud of stillness, of waiting, of days that feel suspended between sleeping and waking. Stratus nebulosus, transluci, dus, veil. Now that stratus layer thins, just slightly, it remains extensive, covering the sky, but becomes translucent enough that you can detect the sun's position through it. Not see the sun clearly, not see it as a disk, but sense where it is, a brighter area in the gray, a subtle glow that moves slowly across the covered sky as the day progresses. Nebulosis means nebulous vague, without distinct features, and yes, the layer has no texture. No detail no variation, just smooth featureless gray. But translucidus means shining through and yes, light. Penetrates, not much, but enough. Enough to know it's day, not night. Enough to sense the passage of time as the bright patch moves overhead. Under stratus nebulosus translucidus, the world exists in perpetual twilight, not the dramatic twilight of sunset, but a flat even twilight. The same at noon as at 3 in the afternoon. The light doesn't change. The shadows don't move, because there are barely any shadows. Time becomes ambiguous. You might glance at your watch and be surprised by the hour, because the light gave you no clues. The air is saturated. Humidity approaches 100%. Nothing dries. Everything feels damp heavy weighted with moisture. Clothes cling. Paper softens. The world becomes limp yielding surrendered to water. And in that surrender, there is release. Stop resisting. Stop trying to stay dry. Accept the rain. Let it fall. Let it soak. Let it be nimbostratuspanus the ragged veils. Now look more carefully at the base of that nimbostratus layer. Small, ragged clouds, shreds of condensation, drift beneath the main layer. These are panis clouds also called scud. They form when rain falls through air near the ground evaporating slightly, cooling the air, creating these low, ragged fragments that drift and swirl beneath the main cloud base. Panis clouds are dark irregular, constantly changing shape. They appear and disappear, merge and separate, racing along beneath the steady gray above. Sometimes they're so low they brush hilltops or create a second, lower layer that makes the sky feel even more oppressive, even heavier. But they also create texture. Terest. Variation in what might otherwise be featureless gray. Watching panis drift past is like watching smoke or mist something insubstantial but visible. Something that marks the movement of air without ever solidifying into permanent form. A single quotes re-ephemeral transient Cloud fragments living brief lives in the space between Earth and the rain layer above. Falling itself. Not a cloud type, but a supplementary feature. The simple fact of precipitation falling. Rain snow ice pellets hail whatever form water takes as it descends. Precipitation shows the visible curtain, the streaks of falling water. The gray veil beneath the cloud, where droplets are numerous enough to see from a distance. You can often see precipitation as a darkening beneath the cloud. A smudged area where the air is full of falling water. The precipitation might be uniform, a steady curtain across the entire visible area. Or patchy, with heavier and lighter sections creating a mottled appearance. Sometimes you can see the rain advancing. A wall of precipitation moving across the landscape. Approaching. Passing. The sound changes as it approaches. Then a distant hiss. Then closer. Louder. Until the roar of rain on leaves. On roof. On ground. Surrounds you completely, and then, if the rain is moving, the sound recedes again, fading into the distance, leaving behind dripping silence and the smell of wet earth. Precipitatio Is the sky releasing what it can no longer hold? The atmosphere has gathered moisture, concentrated it, lifted it, and now, now it must let go. The rain must fall, the water must return. What rose must descend? It's the completion of the cycle, the necessary release. You return to balance, Virga, rain that never arrives. And now, something poignant. Streaks of precipitation falling from a cloud, clearly visible, Gray curtains descending, but evaporating before reaching the ground. The air below the cloud is too dry, or too warm, and the raindrops sublime, or evaporate, disappearing into invisible vapor before they can complete their journey. Virga appears as dark streaks, or wisps, hanging beneath the cloud base, tapering to nothing as they descend. Sometimes they're straight, sometimes curved by wind shear, sometimes twisted into complex shapes. The rain falls, and falls, and never lands. Effort without completion, journey without arrival, promise unfulfilled, in desert regions, Virga is common. The clouds form, moisture, condenses, precipitation begins. But the dry air below reclaims it all. The ground remains parched while rain falls overhead. You can see it, sometimes you can even smell it. That distinctive smell of rain in dry air, petrichor without actual wetness. The ozone scent of evaporating droplets, But nothing reaches the earth. There's something melancholic about Virga, something about effort expended for nothing, about rain that almost was, about promises the sky couldn't keep. And yet, it's also beautiful. Those gray streaks against blue sky, the visible proof of invisible processes, the demonstration that water can exist in transition. Neither cloud nor rain, neither here nor there, just falling, just evaporating, just being in the space between states, watching Virga. You might feel a kinship with it. How often have you tried, only to see your efforts evaporate before reaching fruition? How often have you fallen without landing? And yet, the Virga tries again. Another cloud forms. Another precipitation shaft descends. Another attempt. The sky doesn't stop trying just because the air is dry. The rain and weight, the heavy gray, the persistent falling. The ragged scraps, the evaporating curtains. This is the sky in its patient mode. Not dramatic, not violent. Just steady. Just present. Just releasing what it must release, Whether that moisture reaches the ground or not, let this heaviness settle over you now. Not oppressive, just present. Let the gray fill your vision. Let the sound of steady rain, real or imagined, fill your ears. Let the weight of saturated air, the density of moisture, the patient persistence of falling water, become your world for this moment, You are under the rain cloud. You are beneath the weight. And you are safe. Dry if you choose to be, or wet if you choose to surrender. Either way, the rain continues. The gray remains. The weight persists. And in that persistence, constancy. That refusal to hurry or end or transform into something else, There is comfort. The sky will rain until it's finished. It won't rush. It won't apologize. It will simply continue, steady, patient, releasing. Falling, completing its necessary work. And you can rest here. Under the weight, in the gray. Listening to rain that may be real or remembered or imagined, letting it wash over you, letting it soak in. Letting it do its patient work of dissolution, of softening, of return, rest now. Under the rain, beneath the weight, in the gray that goes on forever, or until it doesn't, which is not your concern right now. Right now, there is only this, the falling, the heaviness, the peace of letting the sky do what it must do, while you simply, rest. The storm is breaking. What was solid, becomes fragment. What was organized becomes scattered. The great structures that towered that threatened, that dominated the sky, now begin to come apart. This is not ending not yet, but the beginning of ending, the fracture, the dissolution, the slow return to chaos before calm. Let us watch this unmaking and find in it the beauty of things coming undone. Cumulonimbus precipitatio. The storm releasing. The great tower. The anvil. The capillatus top streaming ice. All of this remains. But now the primary feature is what falls from it. Heavy rain. Or hail. Curtains of precipitation descending from the storms. Base. The cumulonimbus is doing its work. Emptying itself. Releasing the moisture it lifted so high. Returning it to earth with gravity's insistence. The rain beneath the cumulonimbus is often intense. Not the steady rain of nimbostratus, but heavy. Driving. Sometimes violent. Visibility drops to nothing. The world disappears behind gray walls of water. Thunder rolls. Lightning flashes. The storm is spending itself, exhausting its energy. Through precipitation, through electrical discharge, through the chaotic release of accumulated power. But this release is also the storm's beginning of decline. It cannot sustain this intensity forever. The updraft will weaken. The inflow will falter. The tower will stop building. And as the precipitation, as the storm empties itself, the process of dissolution begins. The end is written in the very act of release. Cumulonimbus. Virga, rain that doesn't reach. Now something changes. The precipitation still falls from the storm. The curtains still descend, but the air below is dry, or warming. And the rain evaporates before reaching the ground. Virga streams from the cumulonimbus base. Gray shafts hanging in the air, tapering to nothing. This often happens as the storm moves over drier terrain, or as downdrafts spread dry air beneath the base. The storm is still trying, still producing precipitation, but its connection to the ground is severed. The rain falls into a void, into air that reclaims it. The storm becomes ineffective, impotent, its efforts vanishing before completion. There's something poignant about the cumulonimbus with Virga. All that power, all that energy, all that towering structure. And the rain evaporates. The storm cannot complete its purpose. It produces but does not deliver. And in that failure to deliver you see the beginning of its end. Pannus. The ragged remnants. Beneath the storm. Beneath the rain. Beneath the Virga. Small, dark, ragged clouds drift and swirl. Pannus. Scud. Cloud fragments torn from the main mass. They're dark, irregular. Constantly changing. They race along in the storm's outflow, low enough to brush the ground. Sometimes merging, sometimes dispersing. Never stable, never formed. These are the scraps, the pieces, the debris of the storm's main structure. As the storm weakens, as its organization falters. More and more Pannus appears. The cloud base becomes ragged. Fragmented. Losing coherence. What was a unified mass becomes a collection of pieces, loosely related, increasingly independent. Many wildfires are natural. Started by lightning, part of the ecological cycle, but many are human-caused, intentionally or accidentally. And so these flammagenitus clouds become markers of our complicated relationship with fire, our use of it. Our loss of control over it, our role in creating the conditions that allow it to burn beyond containment. Silva genitus. Forest born, gentler now. Clouds born from forests, dense vegetation, especially tropical rainforests, transpire enormous quantities of water. The trees breathe moisture into the air. That moisture rises, accumulates, and can form clouds directly above the forest. Canopy, silvogenitus clouds. Clouds born from the forest's breath. These are natural ancient part of the water cycle that has existed since forests first appeared on Earth. But they're also fragile. Clear-cut the forest, and the clouds disappear. The moisture source is gone. The local climate changes. What was lush becomes dry. The clouds those markers of the forest's presence vanish like smoke. Silvogenitus clouds remind us that clouds are not separate from the earth below. They're intimately connected. The forest creates the cloud creates the rain sustains the forest. A cycle, a system. Break one part, and the whole thing changes. The clouds know what's happening on the ground. They respond. They reveal, flying over rainforest. You can see these clouds forming. Small cumulus directly above the canopy. Fog in the valleys. Mist rising from the leaves. The forest breathing visibly. The boundary between earth and sky blurred by moisture. By life. By the forest's exhalation. Becoming cloud. Becoming rain. Becoming the forest again. Cataractagenitus. Waterfall born. Finally, clouds born from falling water. Large waterfalls create so much spray, so much moisture. That clouds form in the mist. Cataractogenous. Clouds born from cataracts. From cascades. The waterfalls. Ato rises as mist and condenses. Indivisible cloud. These are small clouds, usually localized, hovering near the base of the waterfall, but they're distinct, separate from any other cloud in the sky, born purely from the mechanical action of water falling, crashing, breaking into droplets small enough to be lifted by updrafts, to float, to become cloud, standing near a great waterfall, Niagara, Victoria Falls, Iguazu. You're enveloped in mist that grades seamlessly into cloud. Where does the spray end and the cloud begin? There's no clear boundary. The water is falling and rising simultaneously, descending as river, ascending as mist, existing in all phases, liquid, droplets, vapor, all at once, all in the same space, These clouds ask nothing of us. They existed before humans arrived. They'll exist after we're gone. They're simply physics. Water falling. Energy creating motion. Motion creating mist. Mist becoming cloud. A local phenomenon. A curiosity. A reminder that clouds can form anywhere moisture and condensation meet. Even in the spray of falling water. Human and earth-made clouds. Born. From our activity, from fire. From forests, from waterfalls, each one a story, each one evidence of processes, natural and human. Intertwined. We are part of this now. Our contrails cross the sky, our fires birth thunderstorms. Our presence modifies what the atmosphere does naturally, and the earth. The earth continues its own cloud making, in forests and at waterfalls. Processes older than our species, continuing despite us. Or because of us. Or simply alongside us. These clouds humble us. They show our impact, our influence, our footprint in the sky. But they also show that we're part of something larger. The atmosphere incorporates everything: our breath, the forest's breath, the fire's heat, the waterfall's spray. All of it becomes cloud. All of it becomes part of the sky's endless transformation. Let this settle into your awareness. Your connection to the clouds. Your exhalation becoming part of the air. Your heat contributing to convection. Your presence changing, however slightly. What the sky does. You are not separate. You are woven in, part of the system, part of the cycle. Your breath. dot tuli becomes cloud dot, and now we return to where we began, to the high places, to the delicate, to clouds that barely whisper their existence. The cycle completes. The storm has passed, the heavy gray has lifted, the fracture has resolved, and the sky vast eternal breathes again. Let us end where we started, with quiet observation, with clouds that ask nothing, with the gentlest expressions of moisture meeting air. Cavum hole in the sky. But first, a moment of unexpected geometry, sometimes . In a layer of altocumulus or cirrocumulus, a circular or elliptical hole appears, perfectly defined edges, clear sky visible through the opening, and beneath it, trailing downward . Precipitation falling from the edges of the hole. This is cavum, also called a full strake hole. It forms when ice crystals develop in a supercooled cloud layer. The ice crystals grow ... fall, and trigger a chain reaction. More droplets freeze, more ice falls. The falling ice creates a downdraft that pushes the cloud layer downward around the edges while clearing the center. The result? A hole, circular, clean-edged, unlikely in appearance. People seeing cavum for the first time often think they're witnessing something artificial, something impossible, a hole punched in the clouds. Too perfect to be natural. But it is natural, just rare, just specific in its requirements, just beautiful in its geometric precision. Looking up through a cavum is looking through a window in the sky. The clouds frame it, the blue beyond beckons, and the virga falling from the edges creates curtains, a circular theater with precipitation for curtains and infinite blue for a stage. It's there for minutes, maybe an hour, and then it fills. Or the cloud layer disperses, and the moment is gone. Cavum reminds us that the sky still holds surprises, still creates forms we don't expect, still paints geometry we didn't know was possible. Even after all we've seen ... After all the clouds we've witnessed on this journey, the atmosphere can still show us something that makes us pause ... makes us wonder, makes us remember that we'll never exhaust the sky's repertoire. Fluctus. The final wave, and now ... the last cloud. Kelvin Helmholtz clouds. Fluctus means billow ... wave. These form when two layers of air move at different speeds, creating wind shear between them. The boundary between the layers becomes unstable and begins to undulate ... to roll to form breaking waves. Exactly like waves on the ocean. The clouds mark these waves. They form on the crests, revealing the rolling motion. And the result looks impossible. Horizontal cylinders of cloud, perfect spirals, breaking waves frozen in the sky. They look like the curl of ocean surf, but made of air and moisture, existing miles above the ground ... rolling in slow motion, or seemingly not moving at all. Fluctus clouds are rare, ephemeral. They last for minutes, sometimes just seconds. The atmospheric conditions that create them are specific and unstable. The shear must be just right. The moisture must be present, at exactly the layer where the shear exists. And even when they form, they quickly break down. The instability that creates them also destroys them. But when you see them, you never forget them. Those perfect rolling waves, that impossible ocean in the sky, the visual proof that air is fluid, that the atmosphere has currents and eddies and breaking waves just like water ... but invisible until cloud makes them. Briefly visible. Watching Fluctus is watching the sky reveal its hidden dynamics. The air is always moving in complex, three-dimensional flows, layers sliding past each other, vortices forming and dissipating, the atmosphere churning in patterns we cannot see. But for a moment, for a few precious minutes, cloud forms at exactly the right place, and the invisible becomes visible, and we see the sky as it truly is ... a fluid ocean ... constantly in motion, Waves and billows and flows all around us all the time. The sky breathes again. The cavern opens closes. The fluctus rolls dissipates. And we return to the beginning, to the knowledge that clouds are always forming, always changing, always dissolving, that the sky is never static, never finished, never complete, every moment somewhere A cirrus filament is stretching across blue sky. An altocumulus layer is forming at dawn. A cumulonimbus is building to ample height. A stratus layer is settling over a sleeping city. A contrail is spreading. A waterfall is breathing mist. The cycle never stops. The formation dissolution. The reformation, endless, eternal. And you have witnessed it. You have traveled through the complete vocabulary of clouds. From the highest wisps to the lowest layers. From the gentle to the violent. From the natural to the human-made. From the organized to the fractured to the reorganized. You have seen the sky in all its moods, all its expressions, all its infinite variety. But now it's time to rest. The journey is complete. The clouds have been observed, named, understood, released, and you can let them all go now. Let them drift away. Let them dissolve back into the air from which they came. Your breath is slow. Your body is heavy. Your mind is quiet. The clouds float through your consciousness like clouds appearing, drifting fading requiring nothing asking nothing, simply passing through the vast empty sky of your awareness. This is the sky of introspection, when the world outside offers so little variation, so little stimulation. Attention naturally turns inward. The muted landscape becomes a screen onto which you project your thoughts. The featureless gray becomes a blank page. The stillness invites contemplation. Not because anything is particularly contemplative about gray clouds, but because there's so little else to hold your attention. Walking beneath such a sky, you might find your mind wandering to memories, to questions, to gentle wondering about things you normally don't have time to consider. The gray day becomes a gift pause a moment when the world stops insisting on your attention and allows you to attend to yourself. Stratus nebulosus opacus the veil complete. Now the layer thickens further. The sun disappears entirely. The gray deepens, becomes more substantial more present. Opacus means opaque, blocking light and yes. No hint of the sun can penetrate this layer. The sky is uniformly gray, perhaps darker gray, without any bright patches, without any variation at all. This is the heaviest stratus, the most complete veil. The sky has closed completely sealed itself, created a gray ceiling that admits no light from above. The illumination that reaches the ground is diffused through the cloud layer, scattered, weakened, reduced to a dim, even glow that seems to come from the gray itself rather than from any source beyond it. Under stratus opacus, the world feels enclosed, protected, perhaps or trapped depending on your perspective. The sky is close, present, undeniable. It's not threatening, not dark enough to frighten, but it's there constantly. A gray presence you cannot ignore and cannot escape. This is the cloud that can linger for days. In some climates in some seasons stratus opacus can persist for a week or more, never breaking never lifting just maintaining its gray. Vigil over the landscape below. The sun becomes a memory. Blue sky becomes something you recall from another time. The world contracts to what you can see beneath the gray, which is often not much. But there's something deeply restful about this too, the lack of change, the constancy. The way the gray simply is without demanding anything, without varying without creating drama or intensity. It's the cloud of deep winter in some places The cloud of coastal regions in others ... The cloud that asks nothing of you except perhaps to slow down. To be still ... To accept that today will be a gray day. And tomorrow might be too. And that's simply how things are ... in this grayness, this opacity ... this complete veiling. There's an invitation to rest, not to strive, not to do. Just to be. The world outside your window offers nothing spectacular. Nothing to pull you away from your interior world. So you stay inside, literally or figuratively, and tend to the quiet things, the reading, the thinking, the slow tasks that require no urgency. The straightest opacus becomes a companion. Steady, reliable, always there, gray, close, enclosing but not suffocating, dimming the light but not extinguishing it, creating a world that feels smaller ... more intimate, more turned toward itself, low, quiet, and lingering. These are not clouds of drama or excitement. They don't tower or flash or pour rain in torrents. They simply exist ... low overhead ... quiet in their uniformity, lingering without apology or explanation. They are the clouds of patience, of stillness, of the muted palette, of days that blend into each other without clear demarcation. And perhaps that's exactly what you need right now. Not drama, not intensity, not the high wisps or the towering storms or the breaking chaos. Just this, low gray, quiet presence, lingering stillness. The sky reduced to its simplest statement. I am here. I am gray. I will remain. Let this settle over you now. The low ceiling, the muted light, the featureless expanse of gray that asks nothing and offers nothing except its steady, quiet presence. Let your thoughts soften into grayness. Let your awareness become as diffused as the light beneath stratus. Let sharp edges blur. Let distinctions fade. Let everything simplify into this one truth. ... low ... lingering. You are beneath the layer. You are within the muted world. And you are safe, held, enclosed without being trapped, dimmed without being darkened, resting in the gray that will remain as long as it remains. And then will lift, or one single quotes T ... but either way, asks nothing of you right now except to accept its presence. Rest here, in the low, quiet, lingering gray, in the straightest that simplifies the world, in the veil that softens everything it touches. Rest, and let the gray hold you ... gently ... completely, without end. Now we turn to something different. Throughout this journey, we've witnessed clouds born of natural processes, of temperature and moisture and wind, of the atmosphere's own ancient rhythms. But the sky also holds clouds of other origins, clouds born from human activity, clouds born from the earth's more violent expressions, clouds that speak of the intersection between nature and civilization ... between the wild atmosphere and the world we've built within it. These clouds remind us that we are part of the sky's story now, for better or worse. Let us observe them with honesty, with humility ... with the recognition that our presence changes everything we touch. Even the clouds. Homo genitus ... human born, homo for human ... genitus for generated. These are clouds that would not exist without human activity. The most familiar are contrails, condensation trails left by aircraft, high-altitude planes, exhaust hot, moist air into the cold upper atmosphere. And that moisture immediately condenses ... freezes, creating long linear clouds that mark the aircraft's path across the sky. Sometimes contrails dissipate quickly, evaporating within minutes as the ice crystals sublime back into invisible vapor. But sometimes, when the upper air is humid enough, they persist, they spread. They expand into broad bands of cirrus, covering portions of sky that would otherwise be clear on busy air routes. Multiple contrails can merge, creating extensive artificial cloud cover, a human-made veil drawn across the heavens. There are other homogeneous clouds too, cooling towers from power plants' release, vast quantities of warm, moist air, creating plumes that rise and spread and sometimes develop into cumulus clouds. Industrial processes, urban heat islands creating their own local convection, the exhaust from ships creating long cloud tracks across the ocean, humanity breathing into the sky, and the sky responding, condensing our exhalations into visible form. These clouds are markers of our presence, evidence of our activity. Every contrailer journey, every cooling tower plume, a power plant running, every industrial cloud, a factory working. The sky becoming a canvas on which our civilization writes its operations, whether we intend it to or not. Homo mutatus ... human modified. Now clouds that began naturally but were altered by human activity. A natural cloud, perhaps cumulus or altocumulus, encounters aircraft exhaust or industrial emissions. The particles in that exhaust ... the aerosols ... the condensation nuclei change how the cloud behaves. It might grow larger, persist longer, change texture or density ... or consider clouds that form in the turbulence created by aircraft, mixing layers of air that wouldn't normally mix, creating conditions for cloud formation that wouldn't naturally occur. The cloud forms ... yes ... but it forms because we disturbed the air, we modified the conditions. We changed what the sky was going to do. Homo mutatus is subtle, often invisible in its operation. You can't look at a cloud and know for certain whether it's being human modified unless you were watching very carefully. But it's there, this quiet influence, this gentle pushing of natural processes in directions they might not have gone. We are part of the system now. The atmosphere responds to us. The clouds incorporate our presence into their formation and evolution. It's humbling and troubling, and also ... simply true. We are not separate from nature. We are not outside the system. Our breath becomes part of the air. Our heat becomes part of the energy budget. Our particles become condensation nuclei. The clouds know we're here. Flamagenit use ... fireboard. Now clouds born from the Earth's own violence, but often human-initiated. Large wildfires create their own weather. The intense heat generates powerful updrafts. Smoke particles serve as condensation nuclei. Moisture from burning vegetation is lifted high into the atmosphere, and clouds form directly above the fire, born from flame. These flamagenitus clouds can be massive. Pyrocumulus, fire cumulus, towering above the flames, sometimes developing into full pyrocumulambus. Fire thunderstorms, complete with lightning and rain. The fire creates the conditions for storm formation. The updrafts are violent. The clouds are dark with smoke and ash. Lightning from these clouds can ignite new fires. The system feeds itself. Fire creating cloud, creating lightning, creating fire, standing at a safe distance from a large wildfire. Watching the smoke column rise and rise and rise until it condenses into cloud ... Watching that cloud tower upward ... boiling ... churning ... ambling out at high altitude. You witness something primordial. Fire and cloud ... Humanity's oldest companion and the sky's oldest form, merged into one phenomenon. Destruction and creation unified. The sky breathes, and you breathe with it. In and out, rise ... and fall, formation and dissolution. The eternal rhythm. The cycle that never ends. And within that rhythm, within that endless breathing, you rest. The clouds have shown you everything. And now they release you into sleep, into rest, into the vast, peaceful emptiness where clouds dissolve, where thoughts disperse, where you float ... weightless. For MLES ... at peace ... the sky breathes again. And so do you, slowly, softly, endlessly, at rest in the infinite blue, where all clouds eventually return ... where all forms dissolve, where everything finally gently completely. Let's go rest now. The journey is complete. The sky holds you. And you are home.